Ride the signal through the unknown. This is the cryptic current.
Currently, which city and country on Earth are you living in? Have you ever thought that the place where you spend most of your life experiencing is actually just a tiny dot? How small it is compared to this vast, immense world? Do humans have the ability to adapt to survive? If you no longer lived in your current environment, where would your survival limit be? Can you imagine Death Valley with toxic gases bubbling up from the ground, formed naturally? How terrifying it is. What would it be like to live in a place that's 56.7 degrees Celsius hot? And what about minus 71.2 degrees Celsius cold? Where is the island considered the most likely to have hosts in the world? In the world, what kinds of places are considered forbidden zones? And are you sure you're living in the safest and most peaceful place? Today, we'll talk about the top 9 forbidden zones in the world. Hello everyone, I'm Melanie's Rudy. Today, we'll explore 9 places considered world forbidden zones from different perspectives. Some of these places were once inhabited or still have people living there. The dangers we're discussing today only include 2 types. One type is danger created by harsh and exceptionally treacherous natural environment. The other is due to human factors, the situation. Harsh and exceptionally treacherous natural. The other type is due to human factors making it extremely dangerous. And of course, at the end of the video, we'll also introduce the safest place in the world. We can wait and see if we're in the safest place or not, right? First, let's explore some places with extremely dangerous natural environments. The first place is Death Valley. When mentioning Death Valley, everyone probably thinks of Death Valley in the USA. But actually, there are 2 places in the world called Death Valley. One in the USA and one in Russia. First, let's talk about Death Valley in the USA, the one most people think of. This is the lowest, driest, and hottest point in North America. At 86 meters below sea level, it's a desert. So it's equivalent to a desert inside a basin. How hot is this place? The highest temperature ever recorded on Earth was here. On July 10, 1913, the temperature here reached 56.7 degrees Celsius. Although this record was set over 100 years ago, teaming this place ISN. In fact, the annual highest temperature here is so close to this level. It just hasn't broken the record. For example, last year's highest temperature also reached 54.4 degrees Celsius. What would 54 degrees Celsius feel like? Almost like inside a sauna room. Sauna temperatures usually range from 60 to 80 degrees. However, the humidity there is very high, while the place we're talking about is extremely arid. The feeling of dry heat and humid heat is completely different. Humans in a dry heat environment are very prone to dehydration. So in that environment, people die from dehydration, die of thirst. While humid heat is like in a tropical rainforest. People die from heat because they can't sweat, die purely from heat stroke. Therefore, those who frequently use social media should drink more water. While they're known to the rainforest, more attention should be paid to cooling. Let's now head to the second forbidden zone in the world. The Valley of Death in Kamchatka, Russia. This is a natural formation of the Hero Sunfire toxic gas house. Although the Death Valley in the US is extremely hot and terrifying. That's Death Valley, it. Because in the US Death Valley, as long as you drink enough water, staying there for over 10 hours is not a problem. But in this Russian Death Valley, surviving just 1 minute inside is already remarkable. Russia's Death Valley is located on the Kamchatka Peninsula in the far east of Russia. This place is not hot at all but extremely cold. There are no plants in this Death Valley, and animal bones are scattered everywhere. Because the valley is filled with naturally formed Hero Sunfire toxic gas H2S. H2S is a colorless gas with a foul odor like rotten eggs. Even a small amount can kill a person in an instant. Even at extremely low concentrations of Hero Sunfire, just contact with the eyes or inhalation can immediately cause blindness or dangerous respiratory failure. You might have smelled a similar odor before. For example, around hot springs, there is a sulfur smell, but it might not be H2S. Even large animals like bears and wolves die instantly once they enter this canyon. Therefore, once humans step in, there is no way out. All those who have entered have never come out. In reality, no one intentionally challenges this place. Usually, those who enter are residents living nearby. They go to pick mushrooms or fruits and accidentally wander in, never to return. Thus, this truly lives up to its name as a death valley. The area of this death valley is not small. Surrounded by mountains on three sides, with only one exit. Therefore, the gas inside can never escape. And this might also be a miraculous blessing of nature. Otherwise, who knows how much destruction and impact this toxin would cause. Besides this death valley, there is another extremely dangerous place in Russia. Oymyakon village, cited, the coldest inhabited village in the world. Oymyakon is located in northeastern Siberia. This is the place right next to the death valley you just mentioned. Currently, about 500 people live there. The coldest time here is in January, with an average temperature of minus 46 degrees Celsius. The lowest recorded temperature was on January 26, 1926, at minus 71.2 degrees. The unofficial lowest temperature reported is minus 77 degrees, usually if the weather is extremely bad. For example, too cold or heavy snowfall. Schools will give students a day off. For instance, in Vietnam, according to information, when the temperature drops below 10 degrees Celsius, students get a day off. Here, they also get a day off, but the standards are different. At minus 48 degrees, middle schools close. And at minus 54 degrees, elementary schools close. The villagers mainly live by hunting and fishing. Some people raise animals like reindeer. It is Santa Claus's reindeer that can survive here. In the village, there are also cars used for transporting goods. But once a car enters the village, its engine must not be turned, because if turned off, it cannot be restarted. Not only cars, but all electronic devices in this village become unusable when taken outside, unable to start up. Such as phones and cameras, they do not work. Even ballpoint pens and markers are the same, because the ink freezes solid. So in the village, when writing is needed, pencils are mainly used. And in this village, going outside is extremely dangerous. Every part must be covered except for the eyes. Speaking of which, do you know that the eyes are the most cold-resistant part of the human body? Actually, it makes sense for humans. The eyes can be considered the most important thing, so they must have the ability to withstand cold. And let's move on to the next extremely harsh place. Cherrapunji Town, India, the place with the highest rainfall in the world. Cherrapunji Town is 1,480 meters above sea level. With a population of 10,000, which is not small, this is the place with the highest monthly rainfall recorded by the Guinness World Records. Here, the rainfall in July 1861 was recorded at 9.3 meters. What does 9.3 meters of rainfall mean? For example, rainfall in Vietnam is not considered low, with annual rainfall around 700 to 5,000 millimeters, which is about 0.7 meters to 5 meters per year. But here, the rainfall in just 1 month reaches 9.3 meters. Everyone knows that Taipei has quite a lot of rainfall, with annual rainfall around 2 to 3 meters. But this Cherrapunji town reaches up to 24 meters per year, 10 times that. This means when it rains, it pours, raining continuously for months without stopping. So why do so many people still live there? It's because people have lived there since ancient times. And thus this place is also called the world's rain pole. There's the South Pole, the North Pole, and also the Rain Pole. And the reason for the heavy rainfall here is the wind-blocking terrain, with warm, moist air currents blowing in from the sea, like a wall right in front. When this air rises, it starts raining continuously without stopping, because it rains so much here, incessantly. There are also extremely many rivers, crossing one every few steps. Thus, bridges are needed. However, wooden bridges are quickly washed away. Or cement bridges are not good either, they deteriorate quickly. So what should be done? The ancient people here came up with a method, which is to use tree roots to make bridges, intertwining the roots, and stretching them to the other bank to form a bridge. What are the advantages of this? First, they won't be washed away. Second, using tree roots for bridges. As time passes, the roots grow stronger. Therefore, the bridge will become increasingly sturdy. Thus, the oldest bridge here is also the most robust. It has existed for 500 years. And we move to the next dangerous location. Mount Washington in the United States, which has the world's fastest winds. Mount Washington also holds the record for the fastest winds recorded in the Guinness World Records. On April 12, 1934, the wind speed at the summit of Mount Washington reached 372 kilometers per hour, or 103 meters per second. Although Mount Washington's elevation above sea level is less than 2,000 meters, due to the extremely strong winds, it is very cold up there. With snow-covered igloo, the average temperature near the summit can drop to minus 40 degrees Celsius. Because the wind is so strong, the perceived air temperature is even lower. Around minus 60 degrees Celsius, nearly equivalent to the temperature on Everest's summit. Mount Washington's Guinness World Record was broken in 1996. According to data from the World Meteorological Organization, on April 10, 1996, an Australian automatic weather station measured a wind gust with a speed of 408 kilometers per hour, or 113 meters per second. And this is also the strongest surface wind speed ever recorded on Earth to date. However, it is not the same as the wind on Mount Washington mentioned earlier. The wind on Mount Washington blows that strongly year-round, while here it only occurs momentarily. It is caused by tropical cyclones or tropical storms, lasting only 3 seconds before ending, so it cannot be as dangerous as the wind on Mount Washington. The locations just introduced are all places with extremely harsh natural environments, unsuitable for human habitation, although some places still have residents, and these are also considered forbidden zones for humans. Next, we will explore some forbidden zones created by human factors. First, Bikini Atoll, part of the Republic of the Marshall Islands, with nuclear radiation. This is a coral atoll in the Pacific Ocean, belonging to the Republic of the Marshall Islands, a Pacific island nation. The Republic of the Marshall Islands is quite interesting. Although its land area is only 181 square kilometers, very small, less than 1/10 of Saigon. The country's land area is so small, but its maritime area reaches 2 million square kilometers, over 10,000 times its land area. This country is formed from 29 coral atolls, the most famous of which, and also a World Heritage Site, is Bikini Atoll. Simultaneously one of the most dangerous places in the world. This place is dangerous because it previously belonged to the United States, which conducted 66 nuclear tests on this atoll. So there is a lot of nuclear radiation around Bikini Atoll. Of course, before the tests, the US relocated all the residents here to other atolls. So currently, there are no people on this atoll. Only some plant species and very few animals. Flora and fauna still live quite well here, it's just that humans cannot approach. Bikini Atoll. Why is it called that? Bikini, as everyone knows, is a type of two-piece swimsuit. Actually, the name Bikini Island doesn't come from the bikini swimsuit. It's quite the opposite. The name of the bikini swimsuit actually comes from Bikini Island, meaning the island existed first, and then the swimsuit was named after it. Because back in the day, the US conducted nuclear bomb tests, and in the same year as those experiments, this revealing two-piece swimsuit was launched, for the mindset and visual sensibilities of that era. This swimsuit created a huge shock, similar to a nuclear explosion. Therefore, it was named after Bikini Island and the nuclear weapon tests of that year. Called the bikini swimsuit. Bikini. Hinting at a nuclear bomb explosion. Bikini. Coconut Island. Now, let's explore the next forbidden place. Grewinner Island, UK, the Anthrax Island. Grewinner Island was purchased by the UK from Scotland in 1942. What did the UK buy it for? Also for experiments, biological experiments. During World War II, the UK was preparing to develop a biological weapon called the anthrax bomb. Anthrax is a bacterium with an extremely high mortality rate, found naturally in soil, and can infect grazing animals like cattle and sheep. After infection, the body tissues of these cattle and sheep turn black like charcoal and die. It usually doesn't infect humans. However, during World War II, the UK planned to turn it into a biological weapon to infect humans and conducted continuous experiments on this island. Fortunately, they eventually abandoned the experiments, but the entire island was contaminated with anthrax bacteria in the soil. So, for a long time, no one wanted to set foot on this island. Then, in 1986, the UK sent a team to the island to decontaminate the activity. Although the government says it's safe now, no one dares to go there. Actually, this island is lush and beautiful, with stunning scenery. But people can no longer visit it. And now, let's move on to the next forbidden place. Poveglia Island, Venice, Italy. The island is said to be the most haunted in the world. When it comes to global pandemics, it started in the 14th century. The Black Death plague occurred multiple times in Europe. And Venice was the place that invented quarantine. They formulate quarantine to control the spread of disease. Quarantine. The reason Poveglia Island is so famous is because Venice sent people there for quarantine. That place was Poveglia Island. Starting from the 14th century, whenever a plague broke out, people were sent to this island for isolation. This island was originally a monastery. About 100 years ago, the monastery on the island was converted into a mental hospital, and this hospital operated for 40 years before closing for unknown reasons. And from then on, the island was devoid of human presence. It became a desolate island. Since the 18th century in Italy, the legend about the city has been circulating. It is rumored that people have seen ghosts wandering on the island. Therefore, no one dared to go there. Additionally, around the 20th century, this place was turned into a mental hospital. So there are rumors that many inhumane experiments were conducted on human bodies in this hospital. Consequently, the number of patients who died there was also very high. And later, the director and staff all went insane and died there. Thus, this island is considered cursed, so no one dares to go. As for Italy, they still keep it open, but no boats dare to approach. There is a very famous movie set primarily on this island. Shutter Island. This place is also regarded as the scariest island, most prone to spawning ghosts in the world. But it is said that the Italian government is trying its best to reverse the situation, change the image of the island, and prepare to build a high-end tourism area, and transform the old mental hospital into a luxury hotel. I wonder if anyone would dare to go? And the last location introduced to everyone is already too famous. That is Area 51 in Nevada, USA, a military base. Regarding Area 51, we have also mentioned that it is a military base located in the desert, in the state of Nevada, US. In fact, the US never acknowledged its existence until 2013. Due to information reaching its declassification, the CIA publicly released some documents about the U-2 bomber, inadvertently revealing the location of Area 51. And this shows that the US had concealed this military base for at least 58 years. So the US government was forced to admit that Area 51 exists. Although not long ago, the US acknowledged the existence of unidentified flying. At that time, the US government did not admit the existence of UFOs or aliens. In 2013, it was still very firm, insisting that we have Area 51, but only to research some aircraft with no relation to UFOs, unidentified flying objects, and none of those things exist. However, by 2019-2020, the US Navy and the Pentagon successfully confirmed the existence of unidentified flying objects and even released videos. Perhaps their admission of the existence of aliens is just a matter of time. Of course, although the US now acknowledges the existence of Area 51, that does not mean Area 51 is open. In fact, no one is allowed to approach this area. Any aircraft or flying devices are prohibited from flying over its airspace, including birds. Moreover, Area 51 is located in the desert, surrounded and obscured by mountains on all sides, so the interior area cannot be seen from the outside. However, if you want to observe Area 51, you can open Google, enter these coordinates, and see it quite clearly. And since the US government admitted Area 51, many who have worked there have revealed how aircraft, UFOs, and aliens are researched inside Area 51. The details of these cases are also extremely interesting. If we delve deeper from this perspective, we will discover many mysteries about the existence of other dimensions, the survival methods of life forms in other dimensions and on other planets, because those dimensions are all different from the one we live in. For example, why can UFOs appear and disappear so suddenly and fly so fast? Imagine that our current popular flying devices could overcome geographical distances to reach their destinations. If it were possible to transcend space and time, moving from one place to another would become effortless. No matter how far the geographical distance, it would be just a matter of moments. We'll explore this in more detail when we have time later. Above, we've explored the 9 most famous forbidden places in the world. Every year, the world holds a selection of the safest countries and territories. This index is published by the Institute for Economics and Peace, IEP. It is an independent, non-partisan, non-profit think tank, with the goal of shifting the world's focus to peace as a positive, measurable, achievable, and tangible measure of human progress and well-being. This index is primarily based on 23 criteria for evaluation. For example, whether the country has civil war, conflicts with foreign nations, deaths from abnormal causes, relations with neighboring countries, political stability, exposure to terrorist attacks, crime rates, military spending, and specific types of crimes. The assessment mainly relies on the synthesis of these criteria. According to the 2020 Global Peace Index ranking, the top 10 most peaceful countries in the world, led by Iceland. Second is New Zealand, third is Portugal. Fourth is Austria, fifth is Denmark, sixth is Canada, seventh is Singapore. Eighth is the Czech Republic, ninth is Japan, 10th is Switzerland. Among these, some countries have quite small populations, like Iceland, while others have higher population densities like Singapore and Japan. Conversely, the 10 least peaceful countries are: first, Afghanistan; second, Syria; third, Iraq; fourth, South Sudan; fifth, Yemen; sixth, Somalia; seventh, Libya; eighth, the Democratic Republic of the Congo; ninth, the Central African Republic; and 10th, guess which country it is? It's Russia. This ranking is from before the Russian war. The invasion of Ukraine on February 24, 2022. Russia was ranked 10th among the least peaceful countries, likely due to high military spending and some activities related to external conflict. Earlier, we mentioned the ranking of the most peaceful and least peaceful countries in the world in 2020. So after nearly 2 years, there's many changes. Let's look at the latest ranking published in June 2022. To see if there are any changes, the 10 most peaceful countries in the world. First, Iceland. Second, New Zealand. Third, Ireland. Fourth, Denmark. Fifth, Austria. Sixth, Portugal. 1. Slovenia ranked 2. Czech Republic 3. Singapore ranked 4. Japan ranked 5. And conversely, the 10 least peaceful 6. Topping the list is Iraq 7. Second, 8. Rising from 5th to 7th 9. Third is 10. Dropping from 2nd to 11. Fourth is 12. After Russia 13. From 10th position to 4th in the world in terms of lag 14. 10th is South 15. 6th is the Democratic 16. 17. 8th is 18. 9th is the Central 19. And 10th is Sudan 20. In addition to economic and 21, there is also a list of the safest cities published at 22. The 10 safest cities in 2023. First, 24. Second is 25. Third is 26. Fourth is 27. The city famous for the story of at 28. Fifth is 29. Sixth 30. Seventh is 31. Eighth is Copenhagen 32. The cap 33. Ninth 34. And 10th is now 35. When accessing the online homepage of the 2022 Globe 36, you will see the number 5 right in the center, enclosed in quote 37. The world is gradually becoming less peaceful compared to the index's starting point. 38. Some might think 39. Even if we don't live in the most peaceful country or city in the world. 40. We are also not in the least peaceful country. 41. So we can consider ourselves snowing quite. 42. Then there is a classic saying about the other. 43. Very much worth pondering. 44. Just a small flap of a butterfly's wings. 45. Can cause a storm thousands of miles away. 46. Clearly, everything is interconnected, right? 47. I wonder what you think. 48. So please share your thought. 49. In the comment section below the video. 50. And our sharing for today will pause here. If you find this video helpful, please share it with your friends to watch. Thank you very much. Hello and see you again. See you again.
If the signal hooked you, subscribe and catch the next ripple.